Welcome to Stand Taller. I'm your host, author of the book Stand Taller. My name is Alex MacDonald, and this podcast here is designed to help you learn how to pivot your beliefs so that you can stand taller. If you want to conquer your negative beliefs and start living a life of possibility and victory, then you need to follow the steps this book and this podcast share. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're gonna have a great time. I'm so grateful that you're tuned in to the Stand Taller podcast. I wanted to tell you about how I started doing some fitness, started exercising, decided I was going to make a playlist for hiking because, music's a big part of my life. And check it out. This playlist, it has music from the Peanuts, from the Cranberries, and from Eminem. Yeah, I call it my trail mix. I really miss my umbilical cord because I grew attached to it. That's so dumb. What do you call a Frenchman in sandals? Felipe Flappe. And when is a door not really a door? When it's really a jar. We have intentionally bad jokes on every single episode. Welcome to episode 4 of the Stand Taller podcast. We're here to have fun and want to get your defenses down, get your mood in the right place, off to the right foot. So I'm so glad you tuned in. Every episode is going to have more bad jokes, so stay tuned. And thanks for being on today's episode. The story that we're going to include, I want to share a couple of quotes by the gentleman who's the main character of this story. And he said, "My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure." And the other quote by him is, "The possibility of failure should not stop us." Now, this gentleman, he grew up very, very poor in the Midwest, very hard times that he grew up in. And by the time he was about 9, his mother had passed away. And he found a barrel full of books, and that was where he gained a lot of his education. He started borrowing books from neighbors and learning all he could. But in 1832, he had lost his job. And that same year, he was defeated for legislator. He ran for a political party and he lost. So the next year, he tried to start a business, and that had failed. And then he went into debt, and it took over 10 years to pay it off. Now it's 1834, and it's a new year for Abe Lincoln. He ran for legislator again, and he was elected. Then the following year, 1835, the woman he loves and was about to marry suddenly dies, which causes him to have a nervous breakdown. It's 1836. And then 1838, he was defeated for speaker. 1843, defeated for nomination for Congress. 1848, he lost re-nomination. 1849, rejected for land officer. 1854, defeated for Senate. 1856, defeated for nomination for vice president. 1858, again, defeated for Senate. 20 years of losing over and over and over again, losing everything that it was dear to him, losing everything he worked for, losing in public office, but he never quit becoming the best version of himself and believing that there was a purpose for him. So 1860, he runs for president of the United States of America, and Abe Lincoln is elected. So there's no doubt about it. Abe Lincoln's life is a collection of moments where he persisted in the face of hardship and failure. His record of obstacles and achievements are guiding lights that prove that success comes through outlasting our failures. Hopefully, you've come to realize that any defeats that you may come across in your life are only temporary, and that your success is just a matter of managing your failures, moving on and forward towards your goals without losing enthusiasm. Abe Lincoln also said, "Always bear in mind that your own resolution to success is more important than any other." So if you failed lately, or if you've fallen off your proverbial horse, just remember good old Abe Lincoln. Remember how he conquered his countless defeats, and realize that you can do the same. So dust yourself off and keep moving forward. All right, let's pick up where I left off on episode 2. This is chapter 1, and we're breaking it down. We just talked about those downward spirals and turning them into upward trends. So let me be clear. The reason why you refuse to take full control of your life is that you are caught in a downward spiral. Again, you may not be aware of it, but its effects on your life and the quality of your decisions are all too real. If you were to consciously change the direction of the spirals in your life, you would be able to achieve so much more. Here's how it works. When you have a positive belief, the stimuli that you get from the world makes you feel like you have a choice. It makes you feel that you can take control of every single moment of your life and produce a more positive result. The more you engage in such positive actions, the better you feel about yourself and the less likely you're going to interpret stimuli in a negative way. In other words, develop an upward spiral rather than that downward spiral. The better you do, the better you feel, which leads to greater confidence and more positive beliefs, which lead to even more positive actions. And so, if you're not feeling that positive feeling right now, think about a past victory and get that winning feeling back again right here in this moment. So the reason why you're struggling right now is that you're caught up in the precise opposite of what I just described. You're stuck in a downward spiral. In other words, you do something bad or you perform substandard work and people give you negative feedback. Then you perceive this feedback as a personal judgment. You feel like maybe you're worthless, you're dumb, you're ugly, or you're not worthy of people's respect or any other negative interpretations that you can come up with. This corrodes your confidence and you are less likely to take action. So I want to encourage you right now, think about a past victory, a moment in your life where you're just feeling so good, that winning feeling right there in your bones. Feel it again, feel it in every cell of your body. And so ultimately, your definition of reality is up to you. It can make you feel like you're a winner, or it can make you feel like you have the short end of the stick. You may come up with conclusions like you don't have the money, or you're not smart enough, or you're not from the right side of the city. Let me tell you, I might be the first one to report this to you, but you cannot eat excuses. My mentor, Bill Lewis, gave a talk at a seminar and he made the statement: the bank doesn't care. The bank doesn't care if you have a headache. The bank doesn't care if you're having family issues. Pay your mortgage or they'll take away your business. The bank doesn't care if you have indigestion. You have to make it happen. Therefore, you have to make a decision to get better at making it happen. And the way to get better is by being focused on the numbers, not your excuses. So we can't eat excuses, but we can study the numbers. And with those numbers, you can make adjustments. So you may have a well crafted excuse as to why your life is powerless, small, weak, unhappy. But unfortunately, all the excuses in the world are not going to change your situation. You're just going to keep going down the drain, caught up in that downward spiral. And the worst part of all of this is you feel that at some level or another, you deserve to be there because of the excuses you chose to believe about your situation. And so, because of your thought process, you're kind of solidifying this feeling. Your areas of frustration are due to the fact that you chose to be in that downward spiral. I know this sounds crazy because who in their right mind would want to be stuck in a downward spiral? None of us. But let me tell you, there are many abusive relationships out there. There are many husbands or boyfriends that beat the living crap out of their girlfriends physically and emotionally, but their partners refuse to leave. The same applies to your life. You may be abusing yourself, beating yourself up, and you just keep on living that same life. Well, maybe it's time to leave that mindset behind. So life may be slapping you around, pulling you by the hair, dragging you down, and you refuse to leave because that is the only reality you know. You feel that you're dirt. You feel that the only thing you're capable of is failure, pain, disappointment. You start believing that you're small and incapable of the great things in life, but it's all in your head. If you were to change that belief system and adopt new filters, you'd be able to reverse the direction of that downward spiral. That's it for chapter 1. The next episode of Stan Teller, we're going to dive into chapter 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, we came to that time, the culture shift challenge moment. I got new music for you at the end of every episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 4. And next week on Monday at 5 a.m., you can listen to episode 5. It comes out every Monday at 5 a.m. And I just thank you guys so much. This song that I want to share with you is by one of my favorite hip hop artists. His name is Andy Mineo. And this song is called It Could Be Worse. We talk about that downward cycle. Instead of thinking in that downward way, start to think of ways that you are blessed, things that you're grateful for. Because, hey, the person without shoes complained until they saw the person without feet. And so I want you to enjoy this song, and we'll see you next time. I'll see you at the top, so I'll see